All right. My name is Maurice Benard, and this is State of Mind. If you like what you see, hit that little button that's right here. You see it? Look at it. It's right here. Okay? And subscribe. All right. Today on my show, I have somebody who's just the biggest thing on ESPN, and I don't say that because I'm exaggerating. It's a fact. But he's not just on ESPN First Take and, among other things, Stephen A's World. The main thing he does is he's Brick. He's Brick on General Hospital.
Yeah.
His name is Stephen A. Smith, and he's here on State of Mind, and we're all so happy. How you doing, man?
My brother, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a privilege that you're here.
Please, the privilege is all mine. You know that. You know how we do.
And I gotta say that I knew he was gonna be dressed up like, the greatest. So I had to put on my stuff.
I just got off TV, man. I just got off TV. I came straight from TV to here, man. Make sure that I didn't have
It
time
looks
to get
good.
casual.
I like it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I tried.
So where'd you grow up?
Hollis, Queens. Hollis, Queens, New York City. Born in the Bronx, New York, and raised in Hollis, Queens. Rap artist Run DMC. And from there, Jam Master Jay was with them. God rest his soul. He was good friends with my late brother. So I just born and raised in Hollis, Queens, the streets of New York City, and that's pretty much it. That's where I was, and my family, my mother and father passed away in the last 3 years. But my sisters, two of my sisters still live in the area, and my other two sisters still live nearby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how were you in school?
Average.
Come on.
I was below average at the beginning. Elementary school, I got left back. I got left back in the third grade because I had a first grade reading level, and then at the end of that summer, they promoted me back to my right grade after summer school, which was the fourth grade. And then from September to June, I went through the fourth grade and then got left back again because my reading level was still that of a first grader. And they said that I probably had dyslexia even back then. They didn't know what the hell that was. And then my mother and a family friend by the name of Tiver McDowell, him, my mom, and my sister Linda, my older sister Linda, essentially taught me how to read and write. And it was as painful as it was, as humiliating as it was at that time, because little kids don't have any compassion. They're laughing at you and the whole bit. It served as a strong source of motivation because it basically, ignited the fire in me, the stage where I said, you can love me, you can hate me, but you will never, ever laugh at me again. Not because I'm stupid. It will not happen. And ever since then, I've been about the business of trying to be as smart and intelligent as I possibly can be, elevate my level of knowledge. And, along the way, it's still little habits that I have to this very day. Like, for example, even now, over 40 years later, I will still read. And if I don't understand a word, I will stop what I'm doing, look it up in the dictionary, see the context in which it was used, until I master the word, and then I'll go back to reading. I still do that to this very day.
Wow. Now, in high school, did it change? Were you?
It changed a little bit. I mean, my reading got up to snuff, no question about that. But then, right before high school, I had a 7th grade teacher. His name was Mr. Caravan. And he said to my mother, and it was a light bulb inside of me because I heard him say it to my mother. He said, your son has struggled in school, where he got left back in elementary school. He said, I'm here to tell you, Mr. Smith, tall guy, really skinny, tall white guy with this mustache that looked like, I don't know what the hell it looked like, Rip Van Winkle or something. I don't know what it was. But he told my mother, he said, I have news for you, and I don't mean to insult you when I say this. He said, but your son is not a dummy, in case anyone has ever thought that. He said, your son is not a dummy. I know exactly what his problem is. He said, your son gets detached of anything he's not interested in. If he's not interested, he will drift. You can talk to him. You can be right in front of your son's face. He won't hear a word you're saying once he's disinterested. He'll shut it down. And he said, what you have to do is find and discover what interests him. then measure his level of intelligence. He said, that's when you know. He said, because I assure you, he said, this guy could be a lawyer, he could be anything if he's passionate about it. And I heard him saying that to my mother because I was in earshot of it all. And I remembered that. And so whatever I did, you know, even when I went to high school and I was struggling a little bit, it was because I was studying electrical installation and I wasn't interested in electrical installation. I kept telling my mother I wasn't going to college. I wasn't interested in school. And so she was determined that I not be a bum. Those were her words. And she said, you're going to learn a craft because you're not going to be useless and skillless in this world. I'm going to make sure you have some kind of a skill so you don't end up being a bum. And so she made me go to a vocational technical high school. But little did I know that I would play ball so well that I would end up making the team my senior year. I would end up getting a basketball scholarship thereafter. And that would propel me to receiving a higher education because you got to be eligible to play. And so that's really where it all came from. But I always remembered if I'm interested and passionate, then my level of intellect ain't as bad as I thought it was.
You know, we're exactly the same.
Yeah?
In that area.
Wow.
But I didn't have a teacher like that. So I just, school was horrible for me.
Wow.
Because it didn't interest me.
Yeah.
And there was nothing about it that I felt like learning, so I cheated my way through. It was great. I mean, it wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say it was great. But maybe if I had a teacher like that said, you know, this guy, or maybe nobody really thought I was smart. I don't know. But I am smart in a lot of ways, especially street smart.
Right.
But now basketball, how was, you're good?
I can ball.
Look at Steven.
I can ball. I mean, listen, I was in high school and my problem was I was my mother's child, so that means I had very skinny legs and I was a very thin individual. When I was in my senior year in high school, I was 5'9", 125 pounds. That's it.
My height.
But I could really shoot. And I could really ball. And so what happened was that we had a basketball tournament at Fashion Institute of Technology. I'll never forget it. And so I showed up in the game. The coach put me in off the bench, and I dropped like 27 points. And so FIT looked at me and said, you know, this guy could really shoot. You're going to sign him to a scholarship.
And then what happened from basketball? After that, what happened?
Well, so what happened is I made the team. I got there on the scholarship. In my very first year there, a month or two in, I cracked my kneecap in half. My kneecap split in half. And so when it split in half and I was out for the year, I had to have, you know, reconstructive knee surgery. And I rushed myself back and I got myself well enough to get my scholarship back, but I was never healthy again. And I chronically had limping issues and I couldn't run up and down the court. It was never the same because I never strengthened the muscles and all of that stuff around my knee. I'm 53 years old. This is when I was in my early 20s. And I just got my knee operated on this past June. Now I'm getting into it again because my legs, I know that my knee is healed. It's just a matter of getting my legs stronger. And then that, to me, is going to help me get back on a basketball court, which are the kind of things that are going to keep me in shape and prevent me from being lacking condition and being out of shape. And I might need to do that because, you know, the executive producers at General Hospital tell me, they tell me that Brick might have a love interest soon. I don't know if I'm going to do that because I like being the surveillance expert for my boss, Sonny. And, you know, he doesn't need me preoccupied with focusing on things like women. He needs me making sure that I'm the surveillance expert I need to be. That's priority.
Let's talk about ESPN. Man.
Yeah, man.
So I used to watch you and Skip, and I loved you guys. And so that's kind of how I started watching.
So did I.
Yeah, it was great. How did you get that job?
Skip Bayless. You know.
He believed in you?
Yeah, well, what happened is we were both doing big things at ESPN at one time. I had my own television show, quite frankly. He was a part of this show called Cold Pizza, which ultimately became First Take. And we were both doing our thing. And what happened is over a contract dispute, my contract didn't get renewed. I was going from 2009 to 2011. Meanwhile, Cold Pizza became First Take, and First Take turned into predominantly a debate show. And so once that transpired, Skip's star ascended. I was out of the business. essentially feeling blackballed because people were not hiring me. They didn't want me on television for whatever reason. And I was really, really very concerned about my career. And then Skip would ask me to come on Wednesdays. And whenever I came on Wednesdays, the ratings went through the roof compared to whatever they had going on in the other day.
I used to watch it, and I'd say, this guy's gonna come on.
So in 2012, Skip came to me and he says, I know you got your dreams, I know you got your aspirations. He said, but I need you. He said, we go back a long ways. He said, I need you to do this show with me. I know you hate getting up early in the morning. I know you can't stand it. He said, and I know that you don't aspire to do a debate show with anybody, but I'm asking you to do this for me. And he said, I think it'll work. He said, just give me 3 years. And if you don't want to do it after the 3 years, I won't bother you. But please do this for me. That's the only reason I did it.
What?
And so when I did it, the minute I did First Take, it went from a show that was potentially on the verge of being canceled to #1 in 3 weeks.
Wow.
In the mornings. And we've stayed there at #1 since 2012. Skip left in 2016 to go to Fox Sports, but I've been on First Take ever since 2012. In the mornings, we've never been anything less than #1 in the entire 8-year run that I've been on the show. So I've been very blessed and fortunate, but Skip deserves all the credit in the world for that because it wasn't like I wanted to do it. I had no interest in doing it whatsoever. I did it because of him. And that's why I'm happy that he's doing what he's doing, and I've been able to help him, in terms of building his cachet and helping to build his profile so he could get what he richly deserves because that's what he did for me.
Yeah, he's great. Let's talk a little GH.
Yeah, man.
Because I
like talking GH.
Okay, first off, I want to say, I always say this, but it's true. I'm not going to, Stephen A. came on, and nobody knew anything. You're the big guy on ESPN. You're Stephen A. Smith. And then you come on and do the show, and they gave you a couple lines, right? And I'm not joking. When I heard him say the lines at first, I said, oh, he can act. I didn't know how well you could act yet, but I knew you could. Mm-hmm. Then you did it, and it was great. Is he going to come back? Or then they bring you back, give you more. Mm-hmm. And then you were really good, man. And not even you thought you were all that good compared to the way I thought you were.
I still don't.
Okay, hold on, Stephen A. Let me finish. But I'm telling you the truth because anybody who knows me knows I'm not, especially about acting, I don't. Right. So then they gave you pages and pages.
I remember that day.
And you nailed every scene.
I was scared to death. I didn't even want to hear anything about my acting because all I cared about was not getting my lines wrong. That's all I cared about. Because, see, this is the thing. It's like, I'm just going to be real with you. When you're black and you grow up in the streets, there's a lot that you're not exposed to. And so you feel like the world is black. You feel like the world is dark. That you're alone and that, okay, I got to do this. And so...
A lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And you add that pressure on yourself. And sometimes pressure is good and sometimes it's not. It depends on the individual. For the most part, God has blessed me to be able to react and respond to pressure throughout my life. So I've been very blessed and fortunate in that regard. But I only bring up, ethnicity and things of that nature for this reason. One of the greatest things that has happened to me in my successful career is that I've gotten to know people who come from different stratospheres than me. Now, I've always kept an open mind, and I'm never even though I'm paid to be cynical and skeptical as a debater and a reporter and all of this other stuff, I've never been that way as a human being. My mother always encouraged me to judge people by the content of their character. She was a big time Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. supporter. But it also helped that my grandmother was white. And my grandmother loved me to death. So I've never been one when I talk about white people, or I don't look at white people. I look at the system. When I'm lamenting something, I'm lamenting the system. But the actual people in that system, I think we all got fairness to everybody.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've always been that way. And so I come to, and I use that as an example because even though it happened in other walks of my life, I come on General Hospital and I see a Maurice Benard and I see a Laura Wright and I see a Steve Burton and these guys and Frank Valentini. Couldn't be nicer, couldn't be more supportive. And all of a sudden you get around these people and you're like, wow, you genuinely like these folks and you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah,
and then it takes another level because I remember when my daughter had her elementary school graduation and I was covering Toronto and Golden State in the finals. But I committed to coming to General Hospital. So I left the finals immediately when it was over. I flew to LA just so I could be here to tape General Hospital that day. And unbeknownst to me, all of y'all, the entire staff, rearranged the day's schedule so I could finish my scenes earlier just to hop on a red eye so I could get home in time for my daughter's graduation. And so you remember stuff like that and it hits you in a very touching and emotional way to the point where you're not just invested because it's your skill. You're not just invested because you enjoy it. You're not just invested because you don't want to screw up. And you don't want to mess it up for everybody because if you mess up your lines, then everybody got to do their lines over and stuff like that. But now you're invested because you don't want to disappoint anybody.
Yeah.
And it's the true essence of teamwork and what it's supposed to be all about. And that's what I love about General Hospital. It's like, it's no such thing. I mean, you got individual responsibility, but there is no individuality.
Yes.
Y'all have to do it.
Yeah.
If you do it, but the others don't do it, we start over.
Yeah.
If the others do it, but you don't do it, we start over.
Yeah.
And so it makes it that much more important where you studying your lines, you're seeing it, you're doing it, and all of this other stuff. And it becomes an incredibly challenging yet very enjoyable experience because the more you do it, the more you enjoy it. You see yourself getting better at it.
Yeah.
But for me personally, in terms of being critical of whatever acting ability I may have, the only reason I'm really that way when it comes to General Hospital, I have been a fan of the soaps of General Hospital since I was 8 years old. I have been watching you for 25, 30 years.
Wow.
I've seen you from the time you came on the show. I've seen you with Brenda. I've seen you with the other Carlys. I've seen you with everybody. I've seen you with everybody. And I'm like, I'm on the set with Maurice Benard. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. He's Sonny. I know Sonny. I'm getting to know Maurice Benard. I'm getting to know Steve Burton. I'm getting to know Laura Wright. I know Sonny, Jason, Carly, because I watch them all the time. So I have my own visions about what a part as your guy should be separate and apart from Jason.
Yeah, and you know, the hard part about soap operas is, and that's one thing that's, you have to do it in one take, man.
Yeah.
You're so programmed to one. It's not like movies where you get 10, 15 takes.
Right.
It's one take.
That's right.
So if you can't do that, you won't be there.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way it works.
And for me, I love it because I can't stand having to do something over and over again if I got it right. Now, if I got it wrong, that's different. If I got it wrong, that's different.
I'm the same way.
But if we got it right, why the hell are we repeating it? Why, like you said in the movies, why am I doing this 10 times? I just did it for you right. Keep that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a second take for, you know, just for security purposes. But I mean, my goodness. I'm like, why we got to do it over and over again?
But, you know, movies are a different monster. Now, I want to ask you this. On First Take, you know, it's almost like not you on there.
Yeah.
But it is truthful. Mm-hmm. Did you know you were going to do that, or it just came naturally?
You mean the debating?
Just the way you are on you're not like that when we're talking in the, you know.
It doesn't call for it. But
so you
when the lights come on, bro, this is what I'm saying. I could do General Hospital for the next 10 years. I'm never going to be Maurice Benard. I'm going to be Stephen A., but I'm never going to be Maurice Benard. I'm going to always have feelings, deferential feelings towards you. Because to me, you're the superstar of the show.
Right.
I'll never be you. I go basketball. I don't give a damn how much I know basketball. I'm sitting next to Jordan. He's Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I can have a conversation with him,
Yeah.
and I know the sport, but I know who I'm talking to. You understand?
Right.
This is Michael Jordan. When I'm on the air with Magic Johnson. Yeah, it's Sports Center with Stephen A. Smith. That's our NBA show. Damn it, that's Magic Johnson sitting a few feet away from me when he's on with me. I know I don't give a damn what the name of the show is. That is Irving Magic Johnson.
Right.
Now I can go back and forth with him, make good television. We can debate back and forth. But I know who the man is. Right. And regardless of what the ratings say or regardless of what people may feel about me, ladies and gentlemen, I am not him, the 5-time champion, Showtime, the greatest point guard in NBA history. I'm not him. That's exactly how I feel about myself on television.
Yeah.
When I'm on television, there's no equal in my eyes. I'm talking about for the purposes of sports television.
I get
I'm
it.
not talking about being in front of the camera.
No.
I'm talking on sports television, on sports, debate show, whatever. I literally feel like the entire audience is waiting for me. I can be on a panel with 5 people. I can be on there with 2 people, 1 person, 3. It don't matter. I believe everyone's waiting for me. That I'm that Michael Jordan, that Magic Johnson, that Maurice Benard of sports television. I firmly believe it. I don't have any doubts in my mind whatsoever. And I don't pretend to feel anything. I'm real and true and authentic with that. But how I project myself, I'm paying attention to the audience. I'm asking you to get up in the morning to watch me.
I get it.
So what I won't do is make you feel like you need to lay down and sleep. You got to get up to watch Stephen A. Because here I come. That is the kind of attitude that I try to project because that's truly how I feel when I'm doing my sports television.
And there's
shows.
no one like you
Yeah, for better or worse, there's no one. No.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
So we talked one day about, I asked you if you ever been depressed and things. And I know when your mom passed away, that was made you feel probably the worst you've ever felt.
I've never felt worse, ever. It's going to always be hard. I think that what has saved me from getting out of that abyss that I was in is there was a part of me that felt that that was selfish. I know how my mother raised me. I know what she wanted me to be. And I also know that she was a very strong Christian, a very God-fearing woman who believed in her heart of hearts that there was a better place for her. My mother said something to me, and I'd share with any man that's lost their mother and is struggling with this right now. She said, "What would you prefer? Lose me or me losing you? Because if you love me, you don't want me to lose you. Wow. That's not how it's supposed to go." She said, "I wouldn't recover. A parent should never have to lose their child. It's supposed to be this way. I know you'll be hurting because you'll miss me, and I'll miss you, but I've raised you and prepared you for this. This is how it's supposed to be because the other way is not an option."
No, that's.
And so when she said that, I always held on to it because I realized that if I loved her the way that I said I loved her and believe in her the way that I said I believed in her, then she's in a better place.
Yeah.
So the real issue is me, that I don't have her here with me. And so as much as that hurts, and it's an incredibly, incredibly painful thing, I move on because of those words, knowing that she's always with me wherever I go. I think that as a man who's not married, it's harder. And I've often said this to guys as well, and I've tried to explain this to females in my life that I've known, like my sisters and others that I love dearly, and I say to them all the time, I say, it's very, very hard for a single man who loved his mama to lose his mama for this reason more than anything else. As a guy, from a boy into a young man in a full-fledged manhood, you fantasize, we all do, about having that significant other. That's our soulmate, our rock, our foundation. And those of us who are lucky to find that one, no matter what's going on, you got a chance to be okay.
Yeah.
Because your soulmate's by your side. But when you're single, the person who loved you most, the female who loved you most and loved you unconditionally is gone. And now you're asking yourself, where do I go from here? What am I going to do now? And the fact that you don't have a definitive answer to that question, the fear can overwhelm you. The fear.
Oh, yeah.
Because you already experienced the pain of losing mom.
Yeah.
You don't want more pain.
Oh, no.
It's almost like, better to do without.
Yeah.
But that's not how mama raised you to be. She raised you to have some courage and to take chances. And if you can take chances in your career, you can take chances in other facets of life. At some point, when are you going to take a chance? By investing your heart in somebody else you believe may be worth it.
Yeah.
And so that's a never-ending emotional tug of war that somebody like myself and I'm sure other single men go through. But that's what the loss of a mom, a great mom, can do. And you just got to know how to handle it. And that's what I've been trying to do. But depression, sure. I was never at a point where I wanted to kill myself, but I was at a point where I wanted to die. That I didn't want to live. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to be.
How was it when you worked? How do you, because I just told the story myself about I was going through major depression and I had to do a happy scene.
Yeah.
And my friend, who, God bless her heart, she's passed away.
Yeah.
She was producing and I couldn't do it. Take. She came out. She goes, "You got to do it, Maurice."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I don't, because I can't.
Right.
I'm depressed, and I can't. That's as good as it gets."
Right.
And then she was great and whatnot. How did you, being on ESPN when I saw you?
I was devastated. Friends like yourself and others talked to me.
Yeah.
That definitely helped. You know, and that wasn't the only occasion, but that was one of those occasions where you said, "I need brick. I need the inner brick.
Yeah.
Bring it out."
Oh, yeah, remember
bring
that?
Bring it out. You
Yeah.
said, "Bring it out. Bring it. Give it to me.
Yes.
Give it to me. Give it to me." And my mother was of West Indian descent. She was from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Very strong woman. Wasn't about the mushy stuff. I could count on one hand how many times my mother told me she loved me in my lifetime.
Really?
But I knew it every day because her actions
Yes.
showed me every day there was never a lack of love.
Yeah.
She just wasn't the type of person that said, "I love you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She just showed you.
Yeah.
And so my mother did not tolerate weakness. She didn't tolerate giving up. She didn't tolerate any of that. She's like, it's a part of life. I'm not telling you you can't be weak. I'm not telling you you can't feel depressed. I'm not telling you you're not supposed to feel it. She said, just as long as you keep moving this way. That's what she wouldn't tolerate.
That's true, yeah.
She said, keep moving this way. She said, don't move that way, because that ain't going to help you but so much. You got to move this way. You got to move forward. She said, because to go back is going to make it that much tougher to move forward.
Yeah.
And so that was just her mentality. But to answer your question directly, my innate responsibility towards doing my job, towards answering the call that an audience had, towards answering the call that my bosses had, and knowing that I had an obligation to someone other than myself, I got all of that from Mom, because Mom was big on that, real big on that. You got a job to do. You have a responsibility. You signed up for this. Finish the job. And I remember, we had buried her on a Tuesday, and the basketball world was shocked because I was in Cleveland for the next day for the finals, the next day.
Wow.
And the reason why I went is because all four of my sisters, Linda, Arlen, Abigail, Carmen, said, "What you talking about staying here for? You know what Mom would say. Finish the job." This ain't the regular season. You know what I'm saying? When you got 6 months, 8 months. No. The season's over in a week and a half. Finish the job.
I want to say Stephen A. is truly a class act, and we talked about so many things that I did. Some I didn't know, and some that just happened, and it was great. And I will say you got to write a book.
I am writing my book.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am writing. I am writing a book. I've reached an agreement to do my own book.
Yeah.
And it'll be coming out at the beginning of next year.
With the
My own
school
memoir.
stuff.
My own memoir.
Yeah, that school stuff. It needs to be out there.
Yeah.
Needs to help people. So,
Yeah.
All right, Stephen A. Thank you.
Man, thank you.
And I appreciate it. And
Well, you know, I appreciate you. I'm
Yeah.
learning my acting from you. You're a good friend. You help me out all the time, and I'm really thankful, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.